The New York Islanders made the same mistakes and got the same result, a 5-2 loss to the Boston Bruins. We'll break down what went wrong. We'll have our hero and go to the game, and we'll look ahead to what is now almost a must-win Saturday against the Washington Capitals. All that and more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
You're Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. And don't forget, you could also find us on SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just do a search for Locked On Islanders. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's J-A-S-E medical.com. We have got a lot to discuss and not a lot of good news, to be honest with you. But first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, feel free to send us an email at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long, and I'm live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game, so join me for instant insight and analysis. And it's great to talk Islanders hockey game time or anytime with you. Well, we knew going into this game on Thursday that this was a challenge. The Islanders going up against the Boston Bruins, a team that, was 10-1-1 coming into this game. Tough to say that there are too many teams off to a better start than the Boston Bruins. The game is in Boston. The Islanders are dealing with some injury questions, and even before the game starts, Adam Pelech, now listed as day-to-day with a lower body injury. He does not play. And without Pelech, your defense core definitely not as strong. Samuel Bolduc steps in, and we'll talk about the results a little bit later. Pierre Engvall, who had that terrible giveaway against the Minnesota Wild that led to one of the Wild's final goals. He is a healthy scratch, benched for the first time all season. And in a game time decision, Bo Horvat does play, which means that Julien Gauthier does not come into the lineup, and the Islanders kind of juggle the lines a little bit. They go Horvat, Barzal, and Wahlstrom as the top line. Nelson, Lee, and Palmieri is the second line. And then the bottom six, very much the same. But realistically, the problem is that we saw a lot of the same old, especially late in the game. I mean, the Islanders got a shorthanded goal early in the third period from Simon Holmstrom that tied the game at 2 with 17 minutes, 10 seconds left in regulation. And just at that moment, you had a feeling maybe, just maybe, things could be different. But no such luck, because the Islanders don't kill the penalty. Then later on, Samuel Bolduc takes another penalty. Islanders gave up 3 power play chances, allowed 2 goals on those 3 power play chances. And the third one, the Bolduc penalty, in the third period, by that time, the Bruins were content with a 4-2 lead to just let it go. to just take the 2 minutes off the clock. They did have some scoring chances, but that wasn't their number one priority. And, the Islanders only had one power play chance in the game, and they did score. Brock Nelson getting the power play goal. So, the same thing, though, taking penalties late in the game, coughing up the puck. How many times in this game did we see Anders Lee fall over, lose the puck? Scott Mayfield had a couple of giveaways. We know Matthew Barzal had a couple of giveaways. This team, again, was just sloppy. And when you are playing sloppy hockey against an elite team, it is very hard to win. Do I blame Ilya Sorokin for this loss, even though he gave up 4 goals and 34 shots? No, not really. That new line of Nelson, Lee, and Palmieri didn't work out very well, did it? Each one of those 3 players were -3 in this game. And okay, I get it. You're trying something new, you're mixing up the lines, but what they did essentially was substitute one of the faster skaters on the team in Pierre Engvall, benched him, and inserted on that line one of the slower players on the team among the forwards in Anders Lee. Whether it was a lack of chemistry, whether it was a lack of coordination, whether it's just that these players seem to be in a perpetual slump right now, they just didn't get the job done. And, I understand benching Pierre Engvall after the bad giveaway against Minnesota. I get it. And let's face it, that Nelson, Engvall, Palmieri line, which got off to such a hot start early on in the season, the last 3 or 4 games, they have not been as productive. But you know what? There's a lot of other players you could have benched who aren't playing particularly well besides Pierre Engvall. And some of those other players are the guys who, if you bench them, the team pays attention. The team gets maybe more of a wake-up call. I am talking about you, Anders Lee. I'm talking even about Matthew Barzal. Barzy has been, he's dynamic with the puck, but again, 2 giveaways in this game, a -1 in this game. And, he's exciting with the puck, but on a team that needs to play a structured defensive game, he needs to fit that excitement into the overall plan that this team has. And right now, this is an Islanders team without an identity. This is supposed to be a defense first. We clamp down on you. We don't give you significant high quality danger scoring chances. That's the identity of this team. But in reality, it's not. And, 35 shots again in this game allowed, and a lot of high danger chances and just sloppy play in their own zone. Ryan Polak also, by the way, -3. Maybe part of that is that he's trying to do too much. I will give credit to Lane Lambert for this. Samuel Bolduc did play 14 and a half minutes instead of the usual 8 or 9. So at least they weren't overtaxing all of the defensemen in the game. But Bolduc was a -2. Dobson was a -2. This team, they don't have an identity that meshes with the talent that's available on the ice. And, the one thing people would criticize the Barry Trotz Islanders for being dull, but they were also praised for being very difficult to play against. Well, the Islanders are not that much more exciting with Lane Lambert trying to ramp it up offensively, but they're easier now to play against, and they're making so many mistakes. They've got to get back to fundamentals. They've got to get back to being who they are in order to be successful, and we're just not seeing it from this team right now. And we need to see more. We need to see better play. I would like to see this team get back to who they are. And if they can't do that, if this team doesn't feel they can play the defense first, shut them down, limit the high quality scoring chances first, then maybe it's time to really start making some moves on this roster to get some players who either you have to change the coach or you have to get some players who can do what the coach is asking them to do. Because right now, this team is just plain out of sync. We've got more to get to. We'll talk about a couple of bright spots from this game. We'll have our hero and GOAT of the game and a lot more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. And for our Islanders birthday of the day, we have a player who was an Islander for only 25 games in the late 70s, but went on to a pretty long coaching career in the NHL. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all of that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Parkview Advance. As a business owner, you realize there are times when receivables might fall behind, but that doesn't mean you need to fall behind on vendor payments, payroll, or rent. For more than 25 years, Parkview Advance has helped businesses secure working capital. From $5,000 to $1.5 million, Parkview Advance can approve your working capital in as little as 24 hours. It's a much easier process than you might imagine, and we invite the many entrepreneurs that are Locked On NHL and Locked On Islanders fans to learn more by calling us at 203-675-0071 or go to parkviewadvance.com. If your business needs working capital, call Parkview Advance today. Parkview Advance, helping businesses with their working capital. Go to parkviewadvance.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by collective.com. If you run a small solo business, you're an army of one, but you still need a CPA, a bookkeeper, separate payroll solution, and more. Well, let Collective take care of the paperwork while you take care of business. Collective is the #1 financial solution for freelancers, contractors, and self-employed entrepreneurs that lets you focus on your passion, not your paperwork. Let Collective handle all the paperwork you dread, like corporate formation and compliance, taxes, bookkeeping, accounting, and even payroll. The best part, it's at a fraction of the cost of a CPA. Collective knows that if your business of one makes over $80,000 a year, you will find the most value from their services. Join the thousands of solopreneurs who have saved an average of $10,000 a year on their taxes with their structure. So right now, Collective is offering 1 month free and no onboarding fee when you go to collective.com/LockedOnNHL and tell them Locked On NHL sent you. That's a $550 value for free when you go to collective.com/LockedOnNHL and tell them Locked On NHL sent you. That's collective.com/LockedOnNHL and tell them Locked On NHL sent you. Bright spots. I'm going to start with, I think, what was the most obvious one, and then we'll go from there. Simon Holmstrom. Simon Holmstrom with the shorthanded goal. We mentioned that a little earlier. And every dayers, you know, I've been talking about Holmstrom, but he's not cooling off. And I'm very happy to say Simon Holmstrom, the shorthanded goal, was his 4th of the year. Way ahead of his pace from a year ago. And the beautiful thing about Holmstrom, first of all, he and JG Pageau do seem to have a nice chemistry together. And Holmstrom is just so much more confident than he was last year, where he just seemed tentative. And, you know, when you're afraid to make a mistake, there's 2 things that could happen. Either you'll make a mistake because you're so worried about it, or you will just be there. You'll be a body. And last year, Holmstrom, he was solid defensively, positionally sound, but offensively, he was just a body. He was just going through the motions, so to speak. This year, when he gets his stick on the puck, he is not afraid to shoot. He's not afraid to try some daring passes and create opportunities for his teammates. The jump that Simon Holmstrom has taken from last season to this season, to me, it's the biggest jump of any player we've seen on this team. Noah Dobson's better play in his own zone this year, probably not a close second, but second. But to me, we have seen so much more from Simon Holmstrom. He went from a player last year that had fans saying, why did Lou Lamoriello pick this guy in the first round, to, wow, what more can we see from Simon Holmstrom? Because I get the feeling there is even more of a ceiling to his game than what we've seen before. The other highlight of the game to me, and again, maybe I'm pushing it a little bit, but JG Pageau, 13 faceoffs, winning 10 of them. That certainly helped. And I guess the other thing is this. If I would have told you 24 hours ago before this game started that the New York Islanders would score early in the third period and have the Bruins all knotted up at 2-2, I think a lot of fans would have taken that. But again, that third period sloppiness, that has really become part of what this team does. If they have an identity right now, it's sloppiness, bad penalties, turnovers, unable to get the puck out of their own zone. That's the identity you don't want to have. And it is the identity that they do have. And, okay, while we're at it, as a hockey fan, congratulations to Charlie Coyle on his first career hat trick. Had the empty netter, the even strength goal, and a power play goal kind of in reverse order there. But, Islanders just need to wake up and figure out what they're going to do to fix this. We mentioned everydayers know we talked on yesterday's show about what they were trying to do in practice. Apparently, it did not have much of an effect, and the new line combinations didn't have much of an effect. There are just so many players that this team could bench right now who deserve to sit for a game or two. But there's nobody waiting in the wings, that if you're talking about a top six player, I don't know who's waiting in the wings to move in. Julien Gauthier is really the guy. And whether or not, would you put him in for Anders Lee? Would you put him in for Matthew Barzal? You're not going to bench Barzy. I mean, even though he, hasn't played exceptionally well. It's just a lot of problems right now with this team, and hopefully they'll work it out. Hero of the game, got to give it to Holmstrom for the shorthanded goal and his overall improved play. And go to the game, there's too many choices for GOAT of the game. I'm going to give it to the Nelson Lee Palmieri line for their -3 performance. But you know what? I had too many choices when it comes to that, and it's disappointing to say the least. I am hoping that on Monday's show, when we're talking about the Capitals game and breaking it down and how that went, that I have a lot more choices for hero of the game, and I have difficulty figuring out who the GOAT of the game is going to be. We have got more to get to on today's show. We will have a full preview of Saturday's game against the Washington Capitals, plus our Islanders birthday of the day and more. All that still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together, you and I. We get fired up together on wins and losses, who starts and who sits, and I'm thankful for that connection we have. And today, I want our chat to be a little more personal. I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply on ED medications. You realize what that means? Bring on extended travel. Bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue. You're covered, my friend. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics for Cialis, Viagra, or Revatio prescriptions. All this is possible because of our friends at Jace Medical. Go online right now at jacemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace: "I am thankful for the service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year's supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than the local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. If you or someone you love would get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase." So the next team up is the Washington Capitals' second meeting of the season. For the Capitals and the Islanders, this game at UBS Arena, the first meeting was down in D.C. The good news, well, the Capitals, who unfortunately have been playing better as of late, they're off an overtime loss to Florida. They will be playing tonight, Friday night, in New Jersey. So the Islanders will have one extra day of rest. The Capitals will be playing on a back-to-back. So you have that going for you, at least. Alexander Ovechkin, still only 2 goals in 11 games, although he does lead the team with 8 points. John Carlson right behind him with 7 points. Dylan Strome, 6 goals, leading the team. No other player has more than 3. Anthony Mantha has 3. Connor McMichael has 3. And Tom Wilson, Islanders fan favorite, has 3. This team, the Washington Capitals, next to last in the league in goals scored. They are 12th in the league in goals against. Darcy Kemper doing a solid but not spectacular job in between the pipes. The Capitals power play with Carlson and Ovechkin and, all these Kuznetsov, all these talented players, 30th in the league, only converting at 9.1%. The penalty kill in the middle at 14th out of 32 teams. And, the Islanders, even though they beat the Capitals the first time these two teams played 3-0, Capitals carried play for a lot of the game. And the Islanders really need to, again, just play their style and not be super reliant on the goaltending. I wonder, with Varlamov having shut out the Caps in their last meeting, I would go back to Varley if I were coaching the Islanders, but we'll see, whether or not Lane Lambert goes in that direction. Meanwhile, the line combinations as of their last game, Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, and Wilson, a very dangerous first line. Dylan Strome, Sonny Milano, and TJ Oshie are the second trio. Connor McMichael centers Anthony Mantha and Alexei Protas on the third line. And it's Hendrix Lapierre, Beck Malenstein, and Matthew Phillips as the fourth line. Martin Verherve and John Carlson are the top defensive pair. Rasmus Sandin and Nick Jensen are the second pairing. And it's Hardy, Heyman, Achtel, and Alexander Alexiev on the third pair. The goaltenders right now, Darcy Kemper and Charlie Lindgren. A lot of injuries. Joel Edmondson, Max Pacioretty on the IR. Nick Dowd and Nicholas Backstrom are out. And Trevor Van Riemsdyk listed as day to day. We'll see if he's back in time for Saturday's game. You don't want to be, if you're the New York Islanders, the team that Alexander Ovechkin has his breakout game against. Ovi is not going to score at a pace of, he's averaging right now 2 goals in 11 games. He's averaging about 16 goal pace. He's going to be much better than that. You don't want to be the team that he breaks out against. You don't want to be the team that this power play unit breaks out against. I mean, Oshie, Strome, Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, and Carlson is a very talented first power play unit. And the Islanders cannot let Ovi set up in his favorite place at the top of the circle, and they cannot allow this team to snap out of it and have their breakout game against the Islanders. And look, let's be real here. These two teams not separated by much. The Islanders have 1 point lead in the standings over the Capitals. And again, the Capitals will play Friday. So this is a 4-point divisional game, and the Islanders better be ready. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And Saturday is the 69th birthday of former Islanders winger Michel Bergeron, drafted in the 4th round by the Detroit Red Wings back in 1974. Made his NHL debut for Detroit in 74-75. Later played for the Islanders in 77-78. Was traded midway through that season, then played for the Washington Capitals before finishing his career in the minor leagues. Bergeron only played 229 NHL games as a player, was pretty productive though, 80 goals in 229 games, 138 points and 165 penalty minutes. Never played in a postseason game in the NHL, but Bergeron did go on to a rather successful coaching career, and he had some big games with the Islanders. One of them came on December 20th, 1977 at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. The opponent, the old Colorado Rockies, now the New Jersey Devils. Doug Favell, the goalie for the Rockies. Chico Resch, who would be traded to the Rockies a couple of years later, the goalie for the Islanders. And Michel Bergeron scored twice in less than a minute in the first period. The first goal from Billy Harris and Dennis Potvin, the second from J.P. Parise and Billy Harris. And Bergeron finishes this game with 2 goals, 2 assists. He was a +4. He potted the game winner and had 6 shots on goal. Billy Harris also 2 goals, 2 assists in the game, and 32 saves for Chico Resch. The Islanders crush the Colorado Rockies by a score of 9-1. So happy birthday to Michel Bergeron. He is our Islanders birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Every dayers, Monday on the show, we'll have our key takeaways from Saturday's game against the Washington Capitals, and we'll start to look ahead to the Western Canada road trip that the Islanders are going to start early next week. So make sure you join us for that. Until then, first of all, have a great weekend. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all veterans for your service to this country. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.